Have you ever struggled with bringing out the presence of deep vocals? Well, I'm going to show you that and more. This is Mixtape Tuesday. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode. We're so excited to have you here on YouTube. This is Mixtape Tuesday. My name is Alex Solano, and we host this show every week on YouTube, where we show you guys mixing techniques, production techniques, and tips and tricks. And this week, I want to show you guys a technique that you can use to bring out the presence of deep vocals, especially when you're working with stacked vocals. So for this session, we're using a Reggaeton track from Biloba el Caribeño. And thanks, bro, for letting us use this. We're going to put a link to the artist profile on the video description below. And so I want to play a little bit of the track, and then I want to show you guys some of the plugins and some of the techniques that you can use to bring out the presence of these vocals. So I'm going to roll it from the top. Hope you guys enjoy this mix. Check it out.
Echa pa' acá y no te metes miedo. Llévate de mí, disfrutemos el momento. Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, chaca-cha, chaca-cha. Que suene boom, 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 boom. Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, chaca-cha, chaca-cha. Que suene boom, 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 boom. Tú sabes bien que el de...
All right, I'm going to stop it right there before I play the whole song. I actually enjoy it. It's very musical. It's got some nice little melodies, and it's kind of just like, a little uplifting, that kind of thing. Although if you understand Spanish, it's not really about that. But anyways, I wasn't able to do anything with the music because the music was pretty much pre-mixed on FL Studio. The guys used FL Studio, and they sent me this. So I couldn't really do much with it. I did a little bit of EQ, which is this guy right here, BXV2. Just ducking some of the low mids on the mids and on the mid channel, and then on the sides. Wow. All right. And then I did a little bit of the vinyl emulation there just to give it a little harmonics. Cool. So I'm not going to focus on that, but what I do want to focus on is right here, this vocal stack. And it's not really that complicated. I mean, if you look at this, it's just really 4 vocals. But I had to get creative and figure out a way on how to make this sound thick and spread. Usually when I talk to my artists or my producers, I'll tell them, hey, look, give me like 12 tracks of vocals, and then I'll choose what I want, and then I'll like leave out what I don't want. But in this case, it was the opposite. I only had 4 vocals only, right? So anyways, this is what I did. Let me go ahead and enable this right here on edit scrolling. That way it continues to follow the page. And then I'll bypass all the plugins and show you guys a little bit of the processing of what went on. So I'll solo the hook for you guys, and you can check out what it sounds like right here.
Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, chaca-cha, chaca-cha. Que suene boom, 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 boom. Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, chaca-cha, chaca-cha.
And then with all the processing, this is what it sounds like.
Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, chaca-cha, chaca-cha. Que suene boom, 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 boom.
So completely processed night and day. Okay, cool. So let's talk about let's dive in and talk about what we want to focus on. So if I isolate these vocals, you're going to hear these two are pretty much doubles, and they're panned off a little bit to the left, 43 on the left and 55 on the right. So you got the tenor on the left and you got the alto on the right. That's basically the harmony, right? And it's already been auto-tuned by the artist. Okay, so then you have these yellow tracks, and this is kind of like a higher pitch. So this would be more like a soprano, I guess, on the left. Here we go.
Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, chaca-cha, chaca-cha.
It's not really a soprano, it's more like a falsetto. Okay, and then you have this one right here, which is the one that I want to focus on for this video, which is V2. And listen to it, it's going to be on the right side. So listen to, it's going to be much deeper than all the other vocals.
Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, chaca-cha, chaca-cha. Que suene boom, 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 boom. Yo quiero...
And that vocal right there is what gives this thing weight. You know, without that, then the vocals are just stacked. But with that deep vocal, that baritone, then you get that weight with it. So the question is, how can I have a deep vocal track and make it sound present? Well, my personal experience, years ago when I was doing more tracking, now I do primarily mixing. And years ago when I was doing tracking, you set up a couple of mics for a piano, for an acoustic piano. And then when you go to EQ it, you have all this low end. You don't want to make it too bright because it would sound tinny. And I would really struggle on how to get the low notes of the piano, like the really low notes, to cut through the mix even on small speakers. And so after trial and error and talking to people and getting advice, I realized, hey, if you boost 8K or 10K on the piano, it really brings out the harmonics or the overtones, which is what it's called on those low notes. So the same thing applies with vocals and acoustic instruments. So you got this vocal track right here. Let me go ahead and just pan it center so you guys can actually hear it a little bit more, and then I'll crank it up and I'll bring it down later. So it's this track right here. Check it out.
Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, 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 que suene boom, 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 boom. Yo quiero.
Okay, there's a little bit of auto-tune on that, but I'm not going to worry about that. Let's talk about the processing. Okay, so the first thing was just really to be able to identify frequencies that you want to remove. Because this is the trick, and I talk about this on my courses, which is if you want to make something louder, find out what you can take away from it so that you can actually boost it up, okay? And what I was able to take away from this was these two frequencies, pretty much the low mids and the mid-range right there. So this is the original.
Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, 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 que.
And this is after.
Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, 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 que suene boom, 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 boom.
And I had to really crank up the gain input there. So let's just start there. Okay, cool. The next thing is going to be just to kind of control it. Now, whenever you're compressing, if you use a low ratio like below 2:1, if you use a like 1.5 or 1.8, you're able to compress it more without sounding compressed. So by using a ratio of 1.5, I was able to compress it and control the vocals so that they can just kind of sit and fit right there. So check it out.
Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, 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 que suene boom, 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 boom. Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, chaca-cha, chaca-cha.
Okay, so that's compressing about 7 dB. Okay. Next up is really where the vocal presence comes in. And with this plugin, I was able to use the presence shift. It's just pretty much a one knob, and what it's doing, it's called a reciprocal curve, which basically means it's boosting one frequency and it's ducking another. So as I boost this up, it's boosting up between 10K and 20K, and it's ducking probably around 8K or so. So check it out. I'm going to increase this. As we're playing this back, I'll just increase it manually. Here we go. Check it out.
Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, 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 que suene boom, 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 boom. Yo quiero hacerte el chaca.
So this is what really brings up that presence of the vocals. Now, if I would have started here without reducing these unwanted frequencies and without controlling with compression, then I might have run into problems of sibilance, okay? Now, because we are boosting so much, then, we are controlling that again using the waves RVox. Here we go.
Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, 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 que suene boom, 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 boom.
Okay, now by itself, it doesn't sound all that great, but when you blend it into the mix, that's where the magic happens. So I'm going to go back and enable these tracks, bring up the fader for just this deep vocal channel, and then we'll pan it to the right, and then we'll bring it up. Check it out.
Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, 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 que suene boom, 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 boom. Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, 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 que suene boom, 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 boom.
And now let's play it with the track. Here we go.
Y no te metes miedo, llévate de mí, disfrutemos el momento. Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, 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 que suene boom, 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 boom. Yo quiero hacerte el chaca-cha, 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 que suene boom, 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 boom. Tú sabes bien que.
Cool, so a very simple tutorial, but very useful. Just to kind of recap, some of the things that you should keep mindful of is that if you want to turn the volume up, crank up the gain input all the way and crank up the gain output all the way. I'm just playing. No, if you want to turn the volume up, find those frequencies that you can duck, that you can cut away so that you can actually crank it up. And let me mention something else about this. Years ago, when Waves came out with the SSL bundle, this must have been like 2007, 2008. They were, it was a pretty radical move because up to that point, there weren't like these huge endorsements between these analog companies and plugin companies. And you got to give it for Waves. They actually, I believe they were one of the first ones that did it, that kind of did the official. I know there were other plugins out there in the market that did emulations, but they couldn't call it SSL, solid state logic. So Waves came out with theirs. Okay, the reason I'm saying that is because years later, when they came out with some expansion presets with Crystal Algae, you'll notice, and if you can get those presets, get them. Check out the drum presets. Check out the tom presets, because what you'll see is a lot of this right here. You'll see a lot of just like, here, let me kill that. Okay, you'll see a lot of this dip. Now you won't see it graphically because the plugin itself doesn't have any graphical representation. But if you look at the knobs, you'll see that the Chris Rodalgi, you'll see that those presets, he's cutting away like 3 to 500, and he's just like completely notching that off completely, And that allows you, so that technique is basically you're removing frequencies that you don't want. That way you can increase the level. All right. So that's a long explanation for me to say, if you want to boost something up, find somewhere to cut it. All right. So after that, we use the Renaissance compressor with a low ratio, and that's clipping right there, but it's okay. 1.1, and then we're using then the vocal presence boost, which is a presence shift right here. This is what's allowing us to hear the overtones of the original vocals, of that deep vocalness. We're able to hear that. And then lastly, we're controlling that with the R box here. So simple tutorial. Hopefully you guys are able to follow it. Leave me your feedback on the comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what techniques you're using to get your vocals cut through the mix, especially when you're mixing vocal stacks. If this is your first time watching, we'd love to have you subscribe. We're here every week on YouTube. We also have a newsletter at Pulsating Waves, so I'll leave a link on the description below. Sign up for that, and then you'll be notified when we have new videos, when we have new courses, when we have new product reviews, when we have new giveaways, all that good stuff. So connect with us. We'll connect with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.